my name is Lori Bambacco. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm also board certified as a specialist in oncology nutrition. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to yet another video series all about nutrition and some solutions for how to incorporate nutrient-dense choices into your daily life, especially if you are diagnosed with cancer. And no matter where you are along the continuum of cancer care, how can you incorporate nutrient-dense choices so that you equip your body with the nutrition it needs at this precious time? So for the month of December, I thought it would be best to create two separate videos that take advantage of some seasonal produce that are also nutrient dense. And we're going to do part one today, and it's all about savory recipes. Now stay tuned for part two, where we're going to take advantage yet again of some seasonal produce, but we're going to go sweet, and we're going to create some delicious, nutritious, yet sweet tasting desserts that also incorporate some ideas for the holiday season. Now, when I was preparing for this series, another thought came to my mind. I thought, wow, how busy do we often get during this time of year? Our schedules really become pretty chaotic, and I don't want to ask too much of you to really add to your plate, so to speak. So I thought, not only am I going to introduce some seasonal, delicious, nutritious produce, but I'm also going to incorporate some convenient options that I want you to consider so that it helps enable these nutrient-dense choices to get into your body, right? Without managing too much or taking away too much of your time or your energy. So let's get started, because I have four. That's right, four. Four different recipes to share with you today. And I promise you, you will find that they are easy to make and very delicious. And I know that they're nutritious too. So we're gonna get started with our first one. And I thought, why not keep to the theme of plant-based nutrition? And so the first recipe is a lentil loaf muffin. Okay, so this is like a little play on meatloaf, but we're gonna go plant-based with this one. So here's how it goes. We are going to first make what's called a flax egg. Have you ever heard of a flax egg? It is what it sounds like. So all it is simply a tablespoon of flax, ground flax, with a tablespoon of water. And if we combine that and let it sit, it forms basically like this gelatinous binding gel as a result. You see that? So that serves a great purpose in replacing an egg in almost any recipe, and that's what we're going to use for our lentil loaf muffins. So I'm going to combine that and set that aside so that it can form that nice gel, so that it will bind together our super nutritious, delicious ingredients that go inside the lentil loaf muffin. So here's how it goes. What I did is I first sauteed diced onion, and then I minced some garlic, and then I added to that some amazing aromatics. We already are off and running with garlic and onion, right? But I also added some diced celery and then some diced carrot. And I just let that all soften and come together. I have that here in my bowl. And then to that, I'm going to add some lentils. And why not take advantage of a convenient product? Have you ever seen cooked lentils in the store? How convenient is that? Literally, I opened up the pouch. Done. That's it. So it saves a lot of time. So I'm going to add my lentils to my bowl of my cooked veggies. And then to that, I'm going to add some additional ingredients. So I have in here some flavorful Dijon mustard, some Italian seasoning, and then also some ketchup. Now, I decided not to use just any ketchup. I decided to go with a no sugar added ketchup, and there are quite a few products on the market, so I encourage you to look for them. it doesn't add that extra sugar to your recipe, but it gives you the flavor you're looking for. So I'm going to combine that along with my flax egg into this bowl here. I'm going to also add some breadcrumbs, but I also like to use oats that are ground as my breadcrumbs because that's going to add more nutrient density. If you don't want to use oats, that's okay. You could certainly use regular old breadcrumbs, panko breadcrumbs. You can look for whole wheat breadcrumbs, or you could use your old-fashioned oats, which are ground, and that serves a great purpose as a replacement for breadcrumbs, but it gives you more nutrition. So we're going to add that together and we're going to combine it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this inside our muffin tin. So I decided to prepare my muffin tin with some cupcake liners, and I sprayed that with a little bit of olive oil spray. And we're going to add a heaping spoonful. We're going to fill it almost all the way to the top with our lentil loaf. I'm making a mess already. It's fun to make a mess in the kitchen. So I'm just gonna do a couple so that we can get through these recipes. And then we're gonna top this with a glaze. What lentil loaf muffin can go into your mouth without a glaze on top, right? So my glaze for today is very simple and delicious. I used that same no sugar added ketchup, and I added a drizzle of some balsamic vinegar. And we're gonna add that glaze right on top, and we're gonna spread it around nicely right on top. And we're gonna pop this in the oven. It's preheated at 350. And we're gonna put it in there for about 25 to 30 minutes. And through the magic of YouTube and the Judy Nicholson Kidney Cancer Foundation, voila, I already have them made. So here's how they come out. And I don't know about you, but I like to garnish with some fresh herbs. So I have some parsley here, and it adds a little bit of color. But you're just gonna peel off, once they cool, you're gonna peel off your wrapper. And there you go. You have a nice little handheld, plant-based lentil loaf muffin. And what I like about these are that they're great for meal planning. So we all know our schedules get chaotic, right, this time of year. But if you make some of these ahead of time, they're easy to put in the fridge or in the freezer, and then you can easily reheat this for a little snack or part of a meal on the go because you've prepped ahead of time. Great time saver here. Recipe number 1, delicious. Give it a whirl. Okay, so number 2. This is by far one of my favorite recipes. And I think you will be hard pressed to find a more festive recipe than the one I'm about to demonstrate. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some holiday wreaths. Yes, that are edible. And we're gonna use yet again our winter squash, a seasonal produce option. So what I'm gonna use is acorn squash for this one. But if you don't feel comfortable using acorn squash or you don't have it, you easily can substitute for delicata squash, delicious, or the ever popular perennial favorite, butternut squash. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take advantage of their shape and we're gonna slice them into rings. Really neat, right? And then when we slice them into rings, we can decorate them like a holiday wreath. So I want you to be very careful and make sure you use a sharp knife with this. Now, if you don't feel comfortable slicing your winter squash, I'm just gonna do one to show you. Look already, voila, really pretty ring. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you certainly could make crescents, right? So you could slice these in half and then slice them. It might be easier for you to manage, or you absolutely could ask your produce department to see if they would slice them for you. I actually know some grocery stores that will do that for you. So once we have these sliced into rings, you could take a spoon or use your knife and then hollow out right the middle to remove the seeds that are inside. And you're gonna put them on a prepared parchment-lined baking sheet. And you're gonna put them in there and to roast for about 25 to 30 minutes. Now I've already prepared some, voila. Now we don't just stop there, right? So here's my roasted butternut acorn squash wreath or ring. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna decorate it. So here's how we're gonna do that. We're gonna make one of my favorite sauces, tahini and maple syrup. Combined together is delicious, along with a little bit of water to thin it out. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that sort of like glue, okay? So we're gonna drizzle, it's super flavorful glue, by the way. But we're gonna drizzle a little bit of that on the side or on the entire ring. And then to that, we're gonna add a delicious, what I would call a pesto, to give it some beautiful color, but also some great nutrition. So in my bullet, or you can use a blender or a processor, I added some kale, along with some olive oil, some fresh squeezed lemon juice, pinch of salt, and then some chopped up almonds. And then I just processed that through until it looked like the consistency of pesto, basically. Now, I took advantage of another convenient product here. I used some frozen kale. So you will find kale in the frozen section, and all that's in the bag is kale. But the work is done for you. It's washed, it's trimmed, it's already chopped up. You can put that right into your processor or your blender or your bullet. So we're gonna add that right on top of our glue, our tahini and maple syrup glue. And this is where it really gets interesting, but I would say so cool, so fun, delicious, so much great flavor here, but so beautiful to present, especially if you're having some company. It looks like a Christmas wreath. It's really pretty. So on top of that pesto, I figured why not add a little bit more festive seasonal produce. So we're gonna add some pomegranate seeds. Yes, right? Why not? So this is like a color explosion. And not only that, it's a nutrient explosion. So we're gonna add our pomegranate seeds right on top of this. And you certainly could buy a whole pomegranate and then de-seed it, or you could take advantage of another convenient product. Guess what? They sell them already. So all you gotta do is pop open the top. Beautiful. And then to this, I like to also add a little bit more crunch and a little bit more nutrition, and this is some hemp seeds. So hemp seeds are really high in protein, but they're gonna add some beautiful, another beautiful color and add dimension to this fun, festive, nutritious recipe. You have to try this one, and if you do, please let me know. It's one of my favorites. So I'm gonna put that one aside because we have 2 left. And my last 2 recipes are super simple. Super simple to assemble, and I think invite probably the ultimate nutrition to your plate. So I want you to think about making this, okay, especially for this time of year, this holiday season. So in my bowl, I have a simple vinaigrette going. So all this is fresh squeezed lemon juice with some salt and then some extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna whisk that together. That's our dressing. And I like to minimize cleanup. So everything's gonna go into this bowl. How great is that? Why use another bowl to whisk the vinaigrette? Just make it in the bowl you're gonna serve the salad in, right? Okay, so that's my vinaigrette to start. And then to this, I'm gonna add a fantastic whole grain. Technically, it's a seed. It's called quinoa. Have you heard of quinoa? So we're gonna add some quinoa to this. It's already cooked and cooled. So nice to have this in terms of meal prep as well. If you made quinoa for dinner last night, you can make a little extra, and now you can make a salad the next day with the leftover quinoa. And then to this, I'm going to add a cut up orange. Now citrus, this is its time of year. So be on the lookout for some really interesting different types of citrus varieties like the sumo orange or caracara oranges. They are very high in a lot of the vitamins that help protect our immune system. So we want to incorporate them, especially because they taste delicious this time of year. Now we're going to add a little bit of greens to this as well. So I have some chopped up parsley, fresh parsley, and then also some fresh mint. Delicious. Okay, this combination is so flavorful. So we're going to add some green. We got orange, we got green, And then we're going to go back to those pomegranate seeds, and we're going to also add some pomegranate seeds to this mix. And then we're going to just simply toss that together. I'm going to save a little extra to make sure I put some on top. But we're going to toss this together. And holy cow, is this visually one of the most beautiful dishes I've ever seen. I think it's so enticing when we can create a nutritious recipe that is stimulating to the eyes, right? Especially when we incorporate color. We know colorful fruits and vegetables are really the rock stars of nutrient-dense choices. So voila, here we go. I can't wait to dig into this one. And this will keep for a couple days. So another great meal planner, if you made some of this, easy to nosh on or incorporate as part of a meal so that it makes your life easier to manage during this time of year. Okay, 3 out of 4 done. We're on to our last one. So it's another simple salad that I just want to put together so that you can see how easy it is to make your own. And when you do that, especially taking advantage of very simple yet quality ingredients, you're going to find it's going to be easier for you to do. They're going to taste better. And I think you're going to win over maybe even some family members who might not want to eat plant-based the way that you might want to eat. So here we go with this last recipe. We're off and running already. This is a big bowl of mixed baby arugula and baby kale. Now, if you don't care for those greens, you could certainly do baby spinach, of course, or you could use any green you want. That's okay with me. And what we're going to do is we're going to add to this another vinaigrette. So in my bowl here, I have a great combination. This is apple cider vinegar with some olive oil and then a little touch of maple syrup. Yes. So I'm going to just drizzle that right on top of my greens. Delish. Delicious, delicious. But these aren't just any baby greens, right? I already mentioned that we have baby spinach, baby kale, baby arugula, really yummy stuff. Again, all I did is open the container and put them into my bowl. And then on top of that, I added a seasonal rock star, and that's the persimmon. Have you seen persimmon in the store? Don't be intimidated by this fruit. It is so delicious and worth it, okay? So what I did is I sliced a little bit of persimmon on top. I'm gonna add a little bit more because I think it's just so beautiful. Again, the contrast of colors. And when you bite into this super sweet, delicious seasonal fruit, you're gonna be happy you did it. So persimmon is basically, I find 2 varieties in the store. I find the hachia variety, which looks like an acorn, and then I find the fuyu variety, and that looks more like a tomato. It's like kind of squashed down like a tomato would look. And I want you to treat it like a tomato. So just like I sliced it on top of my salad, maybe that's how you would treat a tomato. You would slice it on top of your salad. You could slice this on top of any grain dish. You could easily have this with some toast in the morning, sliced on top. You know that it's ripe because it acts like similarly like a tomato. It's soft, right? It's not that firm, and there's some give here. But then also too, the stem on top, it should be almost easy to remove, okay? So you're just gonna slice this. The whole entire persimmon is edible, except for that stem. And you could slice this any way you wish to put this on top of your greens. And then to this, I'm gonna add another seasonal rock star, and that's our pecans. So I chopped up pecans and then I toasted them right on top of the stovetop. It's going to add some interesting dimension, but also crunch and flavor, right? So we're going to sprinkle them right on top of this. I certainly could see more pomegranate seeds right on top. I might actually do that right now because I think it's calling for it. But you don't have to use pecans. You can use any nut or seed that you want. If you want to use pumpkin seeds, or you happen to have some walnuts on hand, that would work great with this recipe as well. So I'm going to put a little bit of those pomegranate seeds yet again on top. Looking beautiful. And you could, if you wanted to make this a version of a plant-based recipe, you could add some goat cheese or some gorgonzola cheese on top, or even feta, and that would add another kind of creamy, salty flavor to this beautiful festive salad. I hope you get a chance to try one of these recipes, at least one of them. And guess where you find the recipes? On the great website, Judy Nicholson Kidney Cancer Foundation. The recipes will all be located on there. I hope you enjoyed what I shared today. Please stay tuned for the second video of this series, where I'm going to demonstrate a handful of nutritious, delicious, and festive recipes that are going to invite some sweet to our palate. So please stay well, be healthy, and I'll see you real soon.